So, something that victims of abuse end up struggling with is when they are trying to communicate to a person that is being harmful to them, and they're using effective communication, effective words, effective ideas, effective concepts, and the other person is just not getting it. And they end up in these circular arguments where you're kind of in this sense of disbelief that you're having to argue points that you shouldn't have to argue, like I shouldn't have to tell you it's not okay to call me names, stuff like that, right? And so the victim is just thinking, okay, maybe I just need like better words, or let's get into counseling, or there's a book I can give them, or whatever it is. What they're trying to get around without realizing it is the other person's lack of self-awareness. They're trying to incept something within this person so that they will recognize what the victim is telling them. And when you are dealing with someone who is not self aware, you are not going to be able to get them out of their psychological defense mechanisms. They have, shame avoidance, and they do not want to feel responsible for their own actions. Things happen to them. They don't make choices, and so this trying to discuss it with them will only get you more and more confused, because the more you explain to them, the more you have given them to pick apart. So we need to be looking for people who are self-aware. Two diagnostics for self-awareness, in my opinion, are one is if they can understand, even if they don't agree, if they can understand both sides of the discussion, if they can understand both sides of the debate. Whenever I run into someone who is just, oh no, this other person is evil and bad, right? Like, that's not a person who understands how the other side is perceiving the situation. And so when you see that, you're probably dealing with someone who's struggling with self awareness. Another indicator of low self awareness is somebody who is very reactive, highly emotionally reactive, and they have that like black and white thinking approach to the world. That's really an indicator that you're dealing with someone with high levels of immaturity. Like, they're not engaging their cognition. So to even understand both sides of a situation, you have to be able to engage your cognition in the first place. So if you're dealing with someone who's not even to to that level, they're still stuck in their emotionality. You're dealing with someone who is compromised in their ability to engage mentally with the information, because they're like in a feelings are facts mode. Um, they're essentially just so overwhelmed by their emotional state. And what ends up happening is that people end up walking on eggshells around them, because they'll have like a little temper tantrum. And so the thought from the side of the victim, or like people around the situation, is, oh, well, that's just how they are. And if we just be more accommodating, we won't end up with these like emotional eruptions. And so that's how you go from being a fully autonomous person to shifting to a person who is like, what does this person think, and if I say it in this way, and what if I use these words, and now we're walking on eggshells. Now we're compressing ourselves, who we are, into a smaller and smaller box, because somebody else has low tolerance, low distress tolerance, um, low cognitive ability to engage with a situation, low self-awareness. And so when you're trying to engage with somebody, you want to be able to tell if they're going to be able to hear you. And someone with low self awareness is not going to be able to hear you. Anyway, I hope this makes sense, and I'll talk to you next time.